What's going on, guys? Evan the Xenogears enthusiast here, bringing you another gameplay commentary for the Xbox 360 edition of Dark Souls. This will be part 6 of my Elly installment of videos. In these videos I sort of try to hit all the important parts of a character's developmental cycle, from the acquisition of items that you'll actually be using to the acquisition of items I just collect because they're sweet. Hopefully I'll hit some achievements along the way, and this should walk you through all the major boss fights, and ultimately stop at about soul level 125, where I get into the realm of the terrible, non-forgiving player versus player, where I'll probably embarrass myself at length. But we've got a long way to go before we get there. In this video we'll be descending down into the depths and defeating the Capra demon, and sort of finding the sorcerers and the like. Finding Sorcerer of Vinhelm down here, who can teach you some magic. He can't teach me magic because my intelligence is really low. Elly, I like to envision her in my mind as a smart girl, but I guess when your intellect level is 8, maybe not similar. Maybe she's just really smart and not so good at the books. I don't know. Either way, it's interesting how faith and intelligence aren't equated. I mean, I get how they make sense separating them as a stat, but I just kind of felt like, not to say that those who are religious are intellectual so much as, during this era, I kind of felt like having access to organized religion was how one got educated. But probably not true. In the world of Dark Souls, there doesn't seem to be much of an organized church or anything like that, or really any kind of formalized process at all that I can see, other than, I don't know, the world of Dark Souls, I love it. It's a really neat environment, but I don't think it's as fully fleshed out as Demon Souls, where it leaves a lot of things to question. I mean, Demon Souls also left a lot of things up to the player to figure out or to just not know, but it seems like Dark Souls does that even more so, particularly starting the game, in a prison, having been corralled to the north for being undead. But, I'm not really here to discuss Dark Souls lore. I don't really know a lot about it beyond what I've read on the wikis and on the item tooltips I've collected. But that guy, the sorcerer I just talked to, he'll now head back to Firelink Shrine, so if you're a mage, he'll be your first vendor for spells, outside of the dude who has like 2 spells down in New Londo Ruins, so, maybe on another character that might be more significant, but for her, for my dear Elly, nope. Back here is Twin Humanities. I think the item that's back here might change depending on what you selected your starting gift to be. I'm not actually sure. Patch 105 changed some things. It might always just be Twin Humanities, I don't know. Playing badly here. To beat the torch guys, you just really, it's funny, they're really not dangerous at all, but if you have low vitality, they can just kill you in one mad charge swing on that sword, and that's just really annoying. The best way to deal with them is just to be careful and cautious, which I was not. I sort of wasn't respecting them. That's a problem you run into in this game. Once you've been through an area a couple times and you know what you're up against, you don't respect the enemies anymore, and that's how you wind up getting yourself killed. Like trying to parry things that you're not comfortable trying to parrying. Things like that, And I'm trying to put down these, trying to do a little exploit here. These doors are going to open. I'm going to get ambushed by all sides from a bunch of, little knights. If you have a high damaging weapon, you can swing through the door and one-shot these guys, but mine's just shy of enough damage because I'm still using the Astora Straight Sword, which is starting to show its age. It's also starting to show my lack of invested points into, faith, which is primarily where this weapon scales. So, after this video we'll actually be acquiring a new weapon. We'll be acquiring our first divine weapon, which really isn't much better than a Astora Straight Sword because I haven't leveled my faith yet, but ultimately they'll be great weapons, and I'll start getting my faith eventually. It's just early game, I really try to prioritize endurance and vitality, because on characters that you don't, with low vitality, you just get, if anyone invades you, they one-shot you. If you get into a boss fight and things don't go well, you'll just be dead before you have a chance to recover. Things like that. There's not too many valuable items through this area here. Getting the Sorcerer is the most important thing. You can find a pretty cool armor set here up ahead that I'll actually put on a couple parts of, just, improve my character cosmetically. This early in the game, I'm not too concerned about the quality of the armor I'm wearing. I know the Elite Knight, which I picked up in Darkroot Garden, is going to be far, far stronger than it needs to be at this point in the game. Now, this is actually a pretty dangerous spot here because I am getting dogpawed by a lot of enemies. Having a little bit of poise is really helpful against the dogs, because if you have no poise, every time they hit you, they'll stagger you and they attack and move quickly. If you have some poise, you can take a hit and then just blast them. The Hollow Thieves, rather, they They're easy to block, not too hard to parry. They have a dagger there, and they're trying to parry you as well. If they parry you, it hits really hard. So the important thing is just not to rush your attacks. They're not going to break your guard. They're not going to chip you out. They're really not a big deal. Oh, my buddy Nick McDermott just signed on. Hello, Mr. McDermott. Dermy Ravage. It's just not that big of a deal, I guess is what I'm saying. And I was checking the controller life on my battery when I got attacked by another one of the dogs that I missed previously. Yeah, my controller was kind of being wonky, so I want to make sure I had battery life, because I know I'm about to fight the Capra demon. I don't particularly want my controller to go dead right in the middle of the fight with the Capra demon, because I've been known to game over to him now and again when I come ill-prepared. So that's where you pick up the Thief starting set, the black set there, the Shadow set I believe it's called. Maybe it's not Shadow. We'll see here in a minute when I put some of it on. Yeah, black leather. Black leather not only looks cool, but it's actually a pretty good set, surprisingly. I don't have enough endurance to rock a full Elite Knight set and keep up my roll speed, so now I'm just mixing and matching different armors that I think look cool together. And since poor Elly's hollow right now and she looks ugly as sin because, you know, she's an undead monster with no eyes, she's going to wear that little black mask to hide her face until I revive her to a human sometime in the distant future. Or right when I get to the depths, because I'll need to revive to fight the knights down there. You know, these videos aren't complete playthroughs. They're not intended as walkthroughs so much as just how I'm approaching the game and things like that. Boss fights, critical moments. I think it'd be boring to watch everything ever. So as a result, you know, I spent a lot of time farming in the depths to get green tantanite to make my divine weapon for the next video. You won't see that here, but just understand it took a lot longer than it was probably worth. But I like to farm the depths. I have a depths farming video you guys can check out, and I think it's a lucrative thing to farm. There's the door to the depths, which I unfortunately do not have the key for right now. I have to kill the Capra demon to get it. I can't master key through that. On some people just completely bypass the depths. There's really nothing down there that's too critical for most any character, so people who are just trying to speed through the game for a particular character build or just aren't interested in doing everything, if you have the master key, you can avoid that entire section of the game. This merchant here doesn't sell anything I'm too particularly interested in. She sells the blooms there that can cure poison, so if you're planning to go to Blighttown in the near future and you're worried about getting poison and needing to cure it, you can buy those from her, but they're pretty overpriced. You'd be better off just to farm them in Darkroot Garden off the Ints. I buy humanity from any vendor that has it, and I need a bunch of prism stones for later. I should have picked up a purging stone here, because getting cursed just absolutely sucks, and it can in fact get you killed. And you can get stuck in areas in the game where it's really tough to remove the curse, and backtracking can be really difficult because you're too weak. So as a result, I like to carry like one purging stone on every character just in case. I rarely wind up using it, but on the rare events I do use it. It's been a lifesaver. That gate there actually takes you back to Firelink Shrine. It's the first lock gate you see when you're going into sort of the dark tunnel that leads into the Undead Burg. Just telling you how you kind of get full circle with these shortcuts. Once you get the Lord Vessel, which is an item you acquire right after Anor Londo, or basically at the end of Anor Londo, you get the option to teleport from, you know, certain bonfires to other bonfires. It's really convenient, but until you get there, unlocking all the shortcuts is pretty important, and it's just nice to have them open. You never know when you want to walk somewhere or need to walk somewhere. Most of my characters never actually make it to the Lord Vessel because I get bored and start a new character, but I like Elly enough to follow her through. We're going to fight through the Capra demon here. Now, when you start this fight, it's going to lunge right at you. You have a couple options. You can roll past it if you're quick enough, or you can roll behind it. But don't try to block it unless you have a significant amount of endurance and a significant amount of, you know, significant stability on your shield. Ugh, word salad. You cannot block that attack unless you have a significant amount of endurance and a significant shield with considerable stability, because if not, it'll one-shot break your guard and then you'll just get run over, and that would be pretty embarrassing. Because I've died to this boss numerous times for trying to block hits I can't. This boss isn't hard. Patience is key. Trying to do things that are fancy will probably get you blown out. The really easy way, of course, is just to run up the stairs, because the Capra demon struggles on the stairs. I recommend, yeah, it's Capra. I keep going to Capra. That's stupid of me. Sorry, guys. The Capra demon. You want to run up the stairs to get the dog to the bare minimum, because he doesn't chase very well up there. And sometimes his AI gets wonky. Instead of chasing up the stairs, he runs to the base of the stairs, and you can like 1 to 2 shot him with a diving attack, much like the Taurus demon. I'm trying not to spend the entire fight on the stairs or try to do the falling attack on him, just because I think it might be more sporting for the commentary for you guys to see me take random hits and things like that. I don't really get perfect runs on bosses very much in this game. I don't know, it's not how I learned to play. I didn't learn to sort of get the perfects. I learned how to just grind them out. That's kind of like to play the game. You know, I guess I'm not here to impress you guys. So I have a strong enough shield that I can pretty much tank anything he throws at me. But his attacks in succession can break your shield. Whenever you're trying to like shield block a boss, most of the boss's attacks, it's really important to keep track of your own attacks because they'll deplete your stamina. And once you're on a stamina, you get guard broke. So you have to be cognizant of how much is on that bar, not just how many hits you've taken. Because I made the mistake where I'm only thinking, you know, about how many hits I've taken, not really watching the bar too much. And usually if you get, you know, if the boss is difficult, if you get guard break, you probably might just die. Probably might. What a commitment. There's a very real possibility you could just get one-shotted before you ever have a chance to get any stamina back. Or you might get stun-locked by the boss, things like that. Oh, now the fight's over. Now you see, I was thinking I wanted to try to, like, parry one of his attacks, but I don't know if you can parry this guy. I've never really... I was trying this fight, but I'm not real sure. Ultimately, I just decided, let's just finish him off. So, get the key to the depths, some humanity, some homeward bones. Nothing too significant. Alright guys, thanks for watching. In the next installment, we'll start stocking up on our divine gear. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Everyone take care.